Time to catch up with former Conestoga Valley football head coach Jim Cantafio, who was with the program for 15 years and up until this season, the last man in charge of the CV team that went undefeated in the regular season, 10-0 back in 1985. Coach Cantafio, thanks for coming on. And how does it feel to be where we are with the CV program right now?
You know what? I'm excited for them. I'm good friends with John Skapansky. John takes his team to my camps in the summertime, so we've become very close friends. It's sort of neat. I follow Conestoga Valley.
Good.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's your first job as a coach, and you follow them, and you remember the days. And, you know, when they were playing Governor Mifflin in week 9, I sent John a text and wished him good luck. And then afterwards, I sent him a text saying, look, not to put any pressure on you. I said, but the last team to go undefeated was the 85 team to go 10-0. So congratulations to them. I work with their quarterback, Sawyer Espenshade. Okay. So Sawyer's mom was our babysitter for our kids growing up, so we know Ann Shannon quite well. Yeah, yeah. You know, that kind of deal.
I think her husband was on your 85 team.
Yeah, he played. He was a wide receiver for me.
Okay.
Craig Espenshade, nice athlete, but Sawyer, he's a special player. They got special players right now. I mean, let's face it, people. You got to have skill and you got to have talent.
Yeah.
They have the quarterback, they have the receivers, they got good people up front. You put it all together, you go undefeated. I told them, I said, undefeated seasons are special.
Yeah, I agree. And they joined you in the record books with the 85 team. Did you ever think that someone was going to get there, or did you just think forever the 85 team was going to be alone by itself?
Well, it's been almost 40 years, 40 years. Well, you always know somebody else is going to go undefeated, okay? I mean, like I said, you know, in my coaching career, was lucky enough to be on 3 undefeated teams. And my last one was offensive coordinator at Coatesville. Okay. And I remember telling Matt Ortega, the head coach, after the game, he said, Matt, 10-0, undefeated regular season. This is special. Just remember that. It's special, because not many teams get the opportunity to say they went undefeated.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And I guess that helps us look at Conestoga Valley moving forward into the playoffs. Do you think they have that special kind of bond and unit that you've seen over the years to make a nice run in districts?
This is the first Conestoga Valley team in a lot of years. And Coach Novak, I still call him Coach Novak, Jerry Novak was my defensive coordinator for a number of years at Conestoga Valley, and obviously he does a telecast with you guys here. And, you know, the thing that I was impressed when I went to see them play, okay, was their skill level. Their offensive coordinator is fantastic.
Okay.
John Mannion.
Oh, that's right. Great.
John Mannion has a tremendous mind offensively, and he has been a great addition to their program. And you can just see it, the wide openness, the spread. But the thing that Conestoga Valley has now that they've been lacking in years, they have the skilled position players. The quarterback, the wide receivers, okay? They're skilled and they're very talented.
Right, okay, so we will see how far they can go. I want to jump into the 1985 team. You actually brought them along with you here. Go ahead and pop that up for everybody at home to see. But 85 team, what was it about you guys that really was your identity? What made you guys so special that you ran the table 10-0, got into the playoffs, and made it to the district finals that year?
Well, everybody talks about weight programs and off-season programs and how important they are. The 85 team really bought into the off-season. We were strong. I'll never forget it. Out of our starting 11 on defense, I think we had 7 guys that bench pressed 300 pounds.
Wow. And
I mean it. I can remember our linebackers, you know, Mike Brown, Scott Jordan. Boy, we had some studs. Bobby Unks was our quarterback. We had Eric Espenshade, who was an all-state wide receiver for us.
Sure.
We were very skilled, very talented, but the commitment that football team made was second to none. And all coaches say that, but this team bought into the offseason. Their commitment in the offseason was the main factor as to why they were so successful in season.
Okay, so you were telling me before we came on, there was a nice run there in the early 80s that you guys had. You were winning Section 2 titles back to back to back to back. What was it, 6 years in a row, you said? At this point in 85, you're right in the middle of that. Everything is going well for you. You had to beat Banheim Central in Week 10 to kind of get into districts in 85. Good game for you guys. What do you remember about going into Week 10, having to win that, and then that catapulting you into the district playoffs?
I'll tell you one thing. Mike Williams and I, we used to go after each other in the newspapers.
I was reading that today, yeah.
Back then, there was a morning paper and there was an evening paper. And the papers competed against each other. And Mike Williams made this statement prior to our game because we were both undefeated.
Okay.
Jim Cantafio's world will crumble if they don't win this game. It was almost like he was putting all the pressure on us because we were the team getting all the ink during the course of the year. And he was right. I swear to God, thank God I was in good shape at that time, or I might have taken a heart attack.
Oh, no.
I'm telling you, I was so nervous in the build-up to that game. I couldn't wait to get it over with. The pressure was almost unbearable. Here we are, our first opportunity to go 10-0, and now we got to beat Banheim Central, of all people, to do it. And it was the largest crowd ever in the history of Conestoga Valley football. The stadium was packed. The enthusiasm was incredible. Incredible. So it was a night that I know a lot of the players that played on that team, they'll never forget.
Yeah, well, it was almost, I read in the newspaper today in the archives, almost 4,000 people there, as you were saying. And when you guys won, you set a single season record in the LL with 411 points or whatever?
For the 10-game season, we set the single season scoring record. Okay.
Was that something that you...
No. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
We set it because we that game ended up being a blowout.
Yeah.
We beat them like 48-6 or whatever it was. We line up to punt the ball at midfield. Nobody covers a split end because we always win with split ends. Nobody covered him. Our punter was always taught, if he's not covered, throw him the ball. He throws him the ball. They go down and score. At that time, the whole first team was out of the game. Okay? Out of the game. Shoulder pads off. So we got to go for 2. We ain't got no kicker.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So we said, okay, because the JVs were in the game, and the JVs always went for 2 in the JV game. So they went and they went for 2. I find out the next day that 2-point conversion set the record for the Lancaster Lebanon League. And I didn't even know the record existed. And that is the honest to God truth, even though someone else thought maybe I tried to stick it, but I didn't. It was pure accidental, okay? We went for 2, and we broke the darn county record for scoring in a 10-game season. But, you know, that team was special.
Yeah. They could score. They could play defense.
Let me tell you, that team gave up 1 touchdown defensively. 1, the starting defense.
With the first team defense on the,
First team. They gave up 1 touchdown, and it was the offense's fault because we fumbled the ball on the 20-yard line. Or else they would have went through a 10-game season not giving up a point. That's how good they were.
That's incredible. All right, so now you get into the district playoffs. Only 4 teams got in back.
Yes.
I mean, that must have just been so infuriating, frustrating for you guys, and I know that's a whole other show that we could get into. But you get in, right, AAA, 1985. You play Hershey first week, and then you play Bishop McDevitt in the final. So what was the team feeling like going into the playoffs, and did you think you had a real shot to win the district that year?
We felt, again, nobody had scored on us. We were averaging 40-some points a game, and back then, that was unheard of, okay? I mean, people don't understand, you know, today you'll see teams scoring that point, but back then, remember, offensively and stuff like that, you didn't see the spread offenses. You didn't see the 5 wides. You didn't see all of that stuff. So the scoring obviously was less. But going into the playoffs, we had Hershey. Hershey was mid-pen champions, and they were good. But our defense pretty much shut them out.
Right.
And we beat them in the first round. And then we had Bishop McDevitt coming up the second week. Well, a lot of people remember Ricky Waters went to Notre Dame. They had a tailback, James Bryant, went to Ohio State. They had a fullback named Sean Brodsky, went to Penn State. How about that backfield?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? And they ran the wing T, the same offense that Hershey ran the week before. And we shut Hershey down. But I remember a week trying to tell our kids, this is a different breed of cat. Guys, These three guys have all been offered major Division I scholarships. This is a different breed of cat. And to be truthful with you, in the game, that was the difference. Ricky Waters, they would run wing T and then run a sweep. We'd have the sweep shut down, but he'd reverse fields, go the opposite direction, and run away from us. Okay? And they end up beating us. Yeah. So that's how the season ended back then, because there was no state playoffs.
Right.
So we ended the year 11-1 and runner-up in District 3.
So just to kind of wrap things up, 11-0 going into that game is the school record then, right?
That's right.
Right, and so that is kind of what Conestoga Valley is chasing
correct.
This year, is they're 10-0, trying to get to 11-0. When the 85 season ended for you, what was the final feeling of what you had accomplished that year for you?
Oh, it was one of the greatest years of my coaching life. I loved my players. It was such a, many of the players I'm personal friends with. Okay, Mike Brown, he works for me in all my camp businesses.
Oh, nice.
He's my registration guy. He takes care of all the setups. I was very close to that football team. It was a great group of young men that made a commitment, that worked hard, and it all paid off in the end for them. Okay, even though we came out on the short end of the stick, bottom line is we went up against a juggernaut. Right. Okay, and you know, we really couldn't do anything about it. I mean, it wasn't like our kids weren't ready mentally. They were. They were ready physically. They were. We just beat by a better football team.
And you know what? Sometimes that's just football, right?
Yes, it is. I mean, it happens. Only one team comes out on top at the end. You know that.
That's true.
That's it. In every classification.
And you guys got to the state final in '91, so that must have felt a little bit better for you.
Yes.
And maybe that's a story for another day or later in the season. You never know, folks. But again, Coach Cantafio, thanks so much for coming in, chatting with us, telling us some history, you know, letting everybody relive it. For those of my generation that may not have necessarily gotten to be there the first time, hopefully this paints a better picture. And yeah, good luck to the Buckskins, right?
Yeah, I'm rooting for them all the way.
All right.